All right. Am I all the way in the screen? Make sure you have your block and your strap and a chair, something to be on. And then stand with your feet pointed straight ahead. Ground your body into the floor. Take a deep, full breath. You can feel your rib cage. Big, full breath. Show up right here in class, the present moment. Bring your mind into the present moment. And let's start with shoulder shrugs. Slide them up to your ears and press them down. A little bit of a squeeze behind your shoulder blades. Then relax your stomach. Slide your shoulders up toward your ears and press them back down. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. The muscles that move the shoulder blade right here are your traps and your levator scapula. If you have a little bit of a squeeze, you also include your rhomboid that retracts or adducts your shoulder blade toward your spine. And that puts a stretch on the pec minor that's in the front that might pull or rotate your shoulder blade forward. Good, relax out of that. Once again, a little bit of a squeeze, slide your shoulders up to your ears and press them back down. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. As we get the shoulder blade to be in a better position on our back, we address potentially compensations that might occur in the back. Good, now take it just into a shoulder squeeze, just retract your shoulder blades. Make them go down and back, don't let them come up by your ears. Pinch them down and back, squeeze and release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. Keep going. Squeeze, release. Find those rhomboids, the muscles in between. So the trap, mid-trap, and rhomboid muscles are responsible for bringing the shoulder blade around. You're having to oppose some of the serratus anterior, the muscle that's on the outside of your body that pulls the shoulder blade forward. And maybe this is addressing any thoracic rounding that you might have from the bottom of your neck up where you've been sitting at the computer or sitting in a chair or on your bicycle, things that might make that upper back more round. Nice, now take it into a shoulder roll. Squeeze them back onto your back, relax your belly, up and around 10 times. And backwards. Down and back into that middle back area that tends to be a place for a lot of us, that low mid trap that can be weak. That's a place often that our back doesn't move. Nice. Bring it right into, fold your fingers to your palms, into elbow curls. This is for all of us that might have an elevated shoulder or even some rotation in our upper body. Relax your belly, elbows all the way together so they touch, and all the way back. 20 elbow curls, letting your shoulder blades come off your back and squeeze towards your spine. Ten more. Holding your fingers toward your palms in that golfer's grip, thumbs pointed down, working into that middle back area again. Awesome. Relax. Fold your fingers to your palms, arms down by your sides. Squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back. Bring your arms up. Take a deep breath with that pinch between your shoulder blades, holding them down and back away from your ears. Strong elbows, arms parallel to the floor. Circle forward. This holds the arm bone into the shoulder socket, asks the rotator cuff muscles to work, gets your primary hip flexor to start to stabilize for you. 40 circles. Also, if you have rotation or an elevated hip, this can be responsible for getting that out. And turn them over. Unless you have pain in your shoulder when you do this, squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back again. Lift them up, squeeze them together. Relax your stomach and circle backwards. Get that scapula to retract. So we have rotator cuff muscles holding the arm bone into the shoulder socket, the shoulder blade into the middle of your back, temporarily changing your upper back, how your upper back moves into your middle back and your middle back into your pelvis. And release. Excellent. Arms out to the side, over to one side. If you have a wall you can just step back to, go for it. Over to one side, come on up, and over to the other side. Come up. Use your breath to move over and lift. Keep your arms straight out from your shoulders so your spine is what's doing that rotation. Working into the muscles like the quadratus lumborum, that is down here at your back, connecting your back to your hip. You're using your rotators of your back to do this. And your lateral flexors. The shoulder blade has to glide over your spine. So we can also use this to reposition a shoulder or reposition a hip. And then take your legs wider. As you abduct the leg bone in the hip socket, it's much more difficult for a hip to stay rotated or elevated. So as you work on this and feel the difference from one side to the other, so as opening lateral hip, opening adductors, getting some stretch. Wider one more time. Same thing. Now, some of us might have an elevated hip. We may also have something called an offset, where you know that your torso is crooked. And so we're going to take it right into a triangle here to address any offset. So take your feet pretty wide, and then this hip shift is an important part of this. So right foot pointed forward, left foot pointed perpendicular to that. And then shift your hips back so that you are moving into this new space. Now, triangle has very little spinal rotation. So unlike the windmill that we just did, where your spine was really bending, triangle mostly is this hip shift with a straight spine. So bring that arm up and just slide down wherever your body is comfortable to be there. Hold and breathe. Three full deep breaths here. And come on up. Switching sides. Left foot pointed forward, right foot pointed back, or opposite if you're looking at me, whichever one you didn't do last time. Arms out, take it over. Sliding down that leg, making sure to get that hip shift in, shifting that hip that rotation of the femur, movement of the psoas. Open your shoulders. Feel your shoulder blades. You can even try and squeeze them onto your back a little bit here. Relax your belly. And if you have a shoulder blade that doesn't necessarily move well, or you know is extra rounded, then pull that shoulder blade back onto your back. Use gravity helping you, pushing that arm down to bring that shoulder blade back onto your back. Big full breaths. Two more. And come on up. Good. Both feet back in. Finish your windmill over to one side. So now that spine is bending again. Up and over. Excellent. Okay, now we're going to go into a series of exercises that work as rotations. I'm going to have you come down onto your belly. We're going to do hand leg opposite glides and lifts. So if you have some arthritis in your back and just being on your belly is too much, you're welcome to put a pillow under your stomach. If it's okay to be there, let's try and find the right muscles and we'll gently ease into it because I know it's early this morning. So come down onto your belly. And the first thing we're going to do is hand leg opposite glides. So you're going to keep your arm and leg on the floor and reach the left arm and the right leg away from each other, like walking your fingers as far up as you can on the floor and your toes as far away from you. And you'll feel your whole pelvis shift to one side and then release it and then walk the right hand and left foot out. And maybe there's a pull in the shoulder or under the armpit. And reach and breathe. Maybe the lat on this side that holds the arm bones of the lat is right here from the arm bone down across your whole back. Maybe that has some tension on one side versus the other. Switch. Keep going. Reach. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Keeping them on the floor, just reaching them away like somebody's putting you on a stretcher. And release. Switch. Release. Switch. Release and switch. Keep reaching it out there. Now take it into a lift. So hand leg opposite lift off the floor, holding it up as high as your body will let you go. Ideally, the hamstring and the butt muscle are working. The butt muscle should be the priority here. If the hamstring grabs first, sometimes the leg bone can go too far forward in the hip socket. If the butt muscle grabs first and is the priority, then the hip spins in the socket more easily. Go ahead and switch. Hand leg opposite lifts on the other side. Holding it up. So this opposite body can work like a twist. Sometimes for people who can't do twists but have an imbalance from one side to the other. Go ahead and switch. Finding the glute. Finding the back. Switch. Release and switch. Hold it up there. Switch. And one more. And roll onto your back. Pelvic tilts. Feet on the floor, knees bent. Rock your back flat to the floor and then roll it up. Backward and forward. And then arms out to the side, straight out from your shoulders. Let's go into a crocodile twist. So with your arms out, bring your left heel on top of your right toes, and then go up and over. Look to the right, look to the left, twist to the right. Thighs tight, butt tight, hold and breathe. Untwist, switch. Right heel on top of your left toes, up and over. Big breaths. Fully in through your nose, full exhale. Fully in, fully out. Fully in, fully out. And gently untwist again. Bottom of your feet together, or put feet on the floor. Pelvic tilts once again. So we've done a lot of things to try to bring some balance between this pelvis and rib cage area today. Now we're going to go into a little more just hip rotation. Arms out to the side, extend. Let's go left leg first. Extend your left leg and go into femur rotations. So toes pulled back, thigh tight. Rotate the leg out and in 10 times. And switch. Out and in 10 times. Switch. And switch again. And then both legs out straight. Shoulders tucked under, make sure you're even, shoulders, belly button, hips, and then both legs at the same time, out and in. Try to really get that internal rotation. Internal rotation happens from glute medius and minimus and adductors. Take it out and in. So you have both muscles on the outside of your hips and the inside of your hips, trying to rotate that leg bone. And internal rotation of the hip is often what we see restricted. And when we're walking, our hip needs to be able to spin in that socket and do that rotation so that we can get our leg behind us. Excellent. Bottom of your feet together now, knees dropping out to the side into a frog. Letting the gentle arch come into your back. And then shoulders moving down your back. Arms straight out from your shoulders. Rotate your arms back like a goalpost and then bring them back up. So just gentle rotation in the shoulder itself, back and up. Bring your elbows in by your sides and rotate your arm bones out that way. So external humeral rotation, arm bone rotation in the shoulder joint, working some of those rotator cuff muscles. And then back up, squeeze your shoulders underneath your back in toward your spine, squeeze them together down and back away from your ears and release. Find those rhomboid muscles again, squeeze, release. Maybe you feel that moving things all the way down to your pelvis or leg bones. And then bring your legs back up. Hook line pullovers. Interlace your fingers, shoulders relaxing down to the mat, and then pull your arms over your head. Touch the floor and come back up. Let's do 20 pullovers. Relax your belly, let your upper back do that change all the way over, all the way up. Elbows super straight. $18, $19, and $20. Good. Arms out to the side. And then go up onto your toes. Find your right hip flexor and pull that leg all the way up and then set it back down. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Tap the floor, bring it right back up. 30 lifts. Your abdominals are going to have to hold you a little bit, but see if you can just let them do their job while you lift the leg without having it pull you up off the floor. So they just get to be a brace from anything else moving. 10 more. This is a little lift to trigger the hip flexor, because the hip flexor really kicks in when the leg's behind you up to right where your knee would start to extend, where the quads start to kick in. So just that hip flexor working right now. Excellent. Switch sides. Up on your right toes, left leg lifting up and down about 6 inches off the floor. Once again, relax your upper back, relax your neck. Let just your hip do the work with a little bit of bracing at your belly. Ten more. Should be getting tired in the front of that hip, hopefully. Excellent. Cross the right, left over the right, left ankle over the right knee. Pull it up into a hip lift. If this is too much for your body, you could do this with one foot on the floor and just use it to open that hip, being mindful that your pelvis isn't shifting out to the side. But if you bring this leg up, hold it, pull with the right, push with the left. About a minute hold here. Finding that right hip flexor. So many of us have compensations in our body for true hip flexion. So whether that's that the hip lifts because it doesn't spin well in the socket, or whether that's that the knee rotates in, and so the TFL, the tensor fascia lata, takes over. It's an assistant hip flexor and an abductor, but it will take over hip flexion. And that's often when we see a knee going in and a foot going out, like we talked about in class on Tuesday. And release, switch sides. Crossing the right leg over the left. Letting that hip just spin in the socket and then pull it up. And once again, push and pull, pushing with your right knee away from you. So you engage a little bit of the glute and the lateral hip, and that left leg pulls in towards you, and we're just working that hip flexor. Everything else relaxes. Shoulders stay relaxed. Hips working, belly is going to have to work a little bit here. You probably feel your low back go a little bit flat as you bring your legs up into the air like this. The pelvis is going to tend to tip backwards. And that's okay. Relax your jaw, relax your shoulders. Find that hip flexor. And release it down. Nice. Both feet on the floor. Lift your hips off the floor. Now we'll go after hamstring and glutes. Lift and lower. 20 lifts up and down off the floor. $19 and $20. Nice. Now hip flexion, knee extension. So all the way in, bring your knees in towards your chest, and then take your heels to the sky, extend those knees, tighten the muscles around your thigh, around your knee, and then down, release it back down. In, Hip flexion, full flexion as far as they'll go. Extend, down, release. In, up, thighs tight, down, release. In, up, down, release. Keep going. 5 more. I'm just going to celebrate a little win. I hope I don't speak too soon. This is one where my knee would crack all the time, and I've had no crack set this morning. I've been really good about doing my individual menu, and it's straightening out that leg. So if you haven't come to get an individual menu, come get one. Awesome. Go ahead and stretch both legs out straight. And then hold the left leg in, hold underneath that knee. So one hip is in extension, one hip's in flexion. Pull your shoulder blades gently down and back, away from your ears. Relax your stomach and circle your foot 20 times all the way around. Reverse. Point and flex. Switch. Shoulders down and back, away from your ears. Circles. Oh, that's the ankle's still cracking. Anybody else? Popcorn in there? Reverse your direction. And point and flex. Awesome. Onto your hands and knees. Let's go after that lateral hip a little bit. So fire hydrants. Take your knee straight out to the side and bring it right back down. Let's do that 15 times. Lift and lower. When you've done 15, switch sides. And release. Cats and dogs. Round and arch. And then come into a kneeling grind. Right foot forward, left foot back. Make sure that the ankle's ahead of the knee for today. And then draw forward as far as your back hip will let you go. Relax your belly, relax your shoulders away from your ears. And then lift and lower your toes off the floor. Lift and press them down. That is going to engage your hamstrings and your lateral hip. And it may feel like as the strength in the front hip shows up a little bit more, that the back hip is able to let go. Finding the arch, the calf, hamstring, and outer hip on that side. Switch. Just notice the difference between one side and the other. If there's more tightness, if you notice the quad or the hip flexor is tighter on that side, and notice what happens when you lift and lower those toes. Does that feel like it begins to open as you engage the back side of this front hip? And release. Back to your hands and knees. This time, do a couple cats and dogs, and then we're going to rotate again, freeing up the space between the hips and the shoulders. So this time, take your left elbow and just put your hand behind your head, then go left elbow towards your right elbow, and then hips stay stable. Open that elbow and upper back all the way to the sky, and then come back down. Good, right in that middle back, upper body area. Down and lift. And release. Letting the muscles across your back, between the opposite shoulder and the opposite hip, work. And then switch to the other side. Right arm, left elbow, all the way together, and then all the way up. Feeling that back of the shoulder, across the lat, across your back, across the fascia, all the way to that other hip. Awesome. Right into V-knee. We'll go after that space a little bit more. So bring one leg up, sit back in your hips, and then reach that same hand as far away as you possibly can so that you're lengthening your spine, hips back. Open the space, especially for those of you with a little bit of stenosis or arthritis in there. This is a good one. Open that space in there, and then switch. Opposite leg coming up, same leg and same arm. So if your left leg is up, that left arm is reaching away from you, and then you're making it have some traction. Hip all the way to shoulder, sitting back in your hip, opening that space. And one more time. Hips go back. Waistline gets long. Add the breath. One more in through your nose. fully and expand into that armpit, into the back side of your body, and release. Second side, second time. Hips back, full breath. And then onto your hands and knees together. If you're able, sit back, child's pose. You can bring your arms all the way back. Let your shoulders relax off your back and breathe. Then come onto your hands and knees. Press up and back. Downward facing dog pose. If your back is round, then bend your knees a little and stick your booty way up in the air. If you can go legs straight, thighs tight, and then keep pulling your heart down toward the floor, go that way. You decide what's right for you. And then come all the way up. Grab your block. Let's go after a little bit of balance. Just stand on one foot. You can have your toes of the other foot on the ground if you want, or lift it off the floor and just take that block around your waist 10 times. Reverse. Then same leg up and over your head. Reverse it. And switch sides. All the way around 10 times. Reverse. Up and over. Reverse it. Awesome. Okay, one more. Hold that block. Tip overs. Let's go block in the opposite as the foot down, touch the floor. Pull it back up. Whoa, I'm not very stable today. Find your balance. Stay balanced on that foot. See if you can do it without touching the floor at all. Over and up. And then switch sides. Awesome. Take your block. As you finish, stick it between your legs. Squeeze in on that block. Feet pointed straight ahead. Good. One more set of elbow curls. Fold your fingers into your palms. Hands at your temples. Squeeze in on the block. Relax your belly. That gives you some stability. It helps your adductors help hold you. Lower body stability. Upper body gets to move. One more time. Really let your belly relax so your pelvis can move into the right place. And then down, just forward, arm circles, pinch them together. Fingers really in that golfer's grip, fingers really holding your palms. Squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back. Relax your stomach. Circle forward 40 circles. Do both shoulders stay squeezed the whole time? Can the arm bone squeeze into the shoulder socket and stabilize? And interlace your fingers, squeeze in on that block, relax your belly, go into an overhead extension. Sorry, my arms are going to disappear. Squeeze in, belly soft, hold it. Then bring your arms back, shoulders relaxing away from your ears, look up. That's going to get into your middle back. Change your pelvic position. Squeeze in on that block some more. Let your adductors help you. Maybe that helps open up your upper back some more. And release. Release your arms. Release the block. Do a quick check of your balance. Right to left. Hopefully that feels pretty stable. Let's end with a forward fold today. So tighten up your thighs, hold your legs straight, and go ahead and bend over. And come on up. Awesome. Find whatever position that you want to be in for your meditation. Feet on the, just laid out straight or up on a block. Allow your body to be supported by the floor. You could also sit. That would be another option, to just stay seated. So go ahead and close your eyes and drop everything. Drop any stories that you are telling yourself, any thoughts that are arising. The thoughts will arise, but the moment you notice that you're being taken by that thought, come back to your breath, come back to the present moment. Come back to pure awareness, resting in that awareness. Feel the sensations of your body. Notice any of the sounds around you. Feel the breath move in and out. And the moment that you notice that you're thinking, just name it. You can even observe the thought. Where is it coming from? What does it feel like? Just take that moment to step outside of the thought. And just come back to the present moment. Notice that this mind that we have, this monkey mind, does a lot on its own, and we can choose to be taken by it, or we can come back to right here and be present. Again, the moment that you notice that you're thinking, just name it. Even try to name, what was the thought about? Is it a craving? Is it a trigger? Is it loving? How can you just name it and then come back? Now, here's your challenge for today. Open your eyes and allow the flood of visual sensation to come into you. And then see if you can even hold presence, hold your breath with your eyes open. Go ahead and close them one more time. Lessen the amount of stimulus that you have to hold that moment. And then shift your awareness from where you might feel the observation coming from the area of your head. Shift it more into your heart center. And just notice what changes as you move from the head space to the heart space. And then just bring in the realization that this heart space is the place of love and comfort and support, that we support each other as friends and neighbors, and ways that we work on our body and our awareness. All we need is love. And just amplify that and clean the window a little bit so that you can both bring that in and reflect it back out. Go ahead and open your eyes and come around. Now, can you come back to that place as you turn on the news and go back and forth between listening to what's happening and coming back to that present moment? That's your challenge for the day. Okay, unmute yourself if you want to say something.
Thank you, Kyra. That was wonderful.